When Satan wants to destroy the people of God, it's not as difficult as you think. Rather than going after thousands of people, all Satan does is go after a leader. Now, rather than getting into what the census was, I just want you to learn the principle of when you get the leader to sin, you destroy the people. 1 Chronicles chapter 21, verse 1 is our text today. Satan rose up against Israel. So Satan rose up against God's people. And he caused David, he tempted David, he motivated David to take a census of the people of Israel. He got the leader to lead the people into doing something that was wrong. Now, they all had to participate in this. It wasn't just something that David did. Everybody had to participate. I mean, taking a census involves everybody's participation. And they all knew it was wrong. But because the king said it, they all did it. Now, we're learning in the Go Group Leaders monthly meetings about the fact that leadership must be kept clean, that we cannot tolerate sin in leadership. And when you tolerate sin in leadership, eventually it destroys an entire church. It destroys the work of God. The people of Israel also tolerated this. Now, notice the end result. Verse 7, God was very displeased with the census, and he punished Israel for it. And I say, that's not fair. It was just David who made the decision. Yes, but they all participated in it. David said, we're going to do this, and all of them participated in it. Now, the good part of this is that David took responsibility for his sin. In 1 Chronicles 21, verse 8, then David said to God, I have sinned greatly by taking the census. Please forgive my guilt in doing this foolish thing. Verse 16 and 17, David looked up and saw the angel of the Lord standing between heaven and earth with a sword drawn, reaching over Jerusalem. So David and the leaders of Israel put on burlap to show their deep distress and fell face down to the ground. And David said to God, I am the one who called for the census. I am the one who has sinned and done wrong. But these people are as innocent as sheep. What have they done? David took responsibility for his actions. Now, this is what good leadership does, because you know what? Everybody screws up. And when a leader screws up, a leader needs to stand before God and say, God, I made this decision. I led the people into this. It's my responsibility. It's my fault. And I need to take responsibility for my actions. Now that's good leadership. And David did that. And God relented regarding the plague. But I want you to skip back to this principle. We look around the world today and we wonder, how can churches get so far away and do wrong doctrines? How can churches change basic doctrines and basic theologies? And how can churches stand up one day and they no longer believe in the resurrection? And how can false doctrines like the doctrines of the Nicolaitans get into churches like in the 7 churches of Asia? And how can a Jezebel get such control over a church that nobody will stand against her, and that everyone just tolerates her sin of sexual immorality and leading other leaders into sexual immorality? How can this happen? Because Satan wants to destroy a church. Satan wants to destroy the people of God. So he starts working on the leader to sin. And now all of that to say this: you need to pray more for all of the pastors. You need to pray more for leaders, that God will help them see through Satan's schemes, that God will help them see through those wiles, because God did make a promise. There's no temptation that has taken you, but such as is common to man. But God will, with that temptation, also make a way of escape. There's always a way of escape, pastors.